Hey, what up, y'all? Z Carrier here from Tumblr, and it is late Tuesday evening. I'm assuming that everyone has had the opportunity to see Once Upon a Time Season 3, Episode 2, Lost Girl. For all those that live West Coast, all of those that live in other countries, I'm assuming everyone's had the opportunity to see it. But like I said before, I will also put in my description on YouTube and Tumblr not a spoiler-free zone, so in case you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. Alright, on with the show! Season 3, Episode 2, Lost Girl. Oh! What do I even say? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! I have to address something in this episode that I didn't see very many people post about on Tumblr. The second the words came out of his mouth when he said it, I was like, oh my god, they did it, motherfuckers, they did it! But he didn't say anything after that, and I know why, of course, because they don't have the full rights to do it, and that was probably, the name drop was probably as far as they could go, but still, that made me smile. And yes, Killian, I think I can safely speak for all of the Hook fans. What did you do to Rufio? Was it just like in the movie? Did you skewer him with your sword? Or worse? Hmm. Maybe in episode 3-5, good form, we'll find out. Anyway, okay, so this episode takes up directly where episode 1 leaves off. Right as Emma and company are venturing into the jungles and forests of Neverland looking for Henry. Rumpelstiltskin is doing his own thing, off in the jungle, making his own way. Again, I'm not going to summarize the episode. I know you guys don't need that. You've all seen it just as well as I have, and that would be redundant. So I'm just going to hit the finer points. Okay. Let's start with Rumple. I'll do the Captain Swan stuff last. Rumple. I had no idea that he had the balls to remove his own shadow. I mean, I get that he was trying to get rid of any and all weaknesses so that Pan wouldn't have anything to use against him. I just didn't think that it... I mean, seeing what happened to Greg and him losing his shadow, I thought that was... that could kill a person. And I get that Rumple is impervious because he's a magical being and he's the Dark One. But, shadow magic like that, I thought that was something that goes beyond even the Dark One's purview of things. I didn't realize he could survive that, but he did. He got rid of his shadow, he cut his shadow off at the feet, and he gave his shadow the dagger, which he apparently took with him. I was right! Bitches, I was right. Ever since they stole his dagger from the clock tower, he's now taken to keeping it on his person because he doesn't trust anybody else with it. So, in order to make sure that no one else finds it and has the opportunity to use it against him, he gives it to his shadow, tells his shadow to hide it somewhere where no one else will find it, or even he can't find it. So, I don't know how that's going to spell out. Well, I suppose we'll see as the episodes go on. God forbid anybody should find that dagger, especially Pan and his boys, because if they do, then Emma and her crew are in a whole other world of shit. It was really nice to see Emily come back as Belle, but you could tell by the way that her acting, that it wasn't, I mean, obviously it wasn't the real Belle, but you could tell that this was a figment of Rumple's mind. This was something his conscience had conjured up to help him deal with a decision that he felt like he was having trouble making. And she did eventually help him with that, and when he no longer needed her, she went away. Because I think he was afraid that if he relied too much on his magic, he was going to lose that part of himself. He had to. It was sort of a moral question. Should he take Pan's offer, leave Henry in Neverland, and just disappear? Because if Henry stays in Neverland, then prophecy saying that Henry will be his downfall will never happen, and, he can survive. So that he has this whole moral quandary. What do I do? What do I do? But Belle tells him, hey, you already know what needs to be done, and you couldn't leave him behind any more than anyone else could. Because it's not just about Bay. I know that inherently you are a good person, and he is still your grandson. So yeah, at the end he manages to make, I believe, the right choice. And it was confirmed that the little puppet doll belonged to him when he was a child. It was the last thing his father ever gave him before he disappeared. Although, how Pan got his hands on it, I don't know. I mean, everybody is inferring that there was a possibility that Rumple might have been a lost boy at some point. There's an episode coming up, I think it was episode 8? Yeah, episode 8, where it deals with Rumple's past and his issues with his father. You can see flashbacks with Rumple and his father and everything that happened there. So I'm sure they will address the whole doll and how Pan came to have it and all that. But again, this is more of Pan's mind games. He is what he lacks in physical prowess, he makes up for in mental and psychological acuity. And he is able to read a person almost beyond reason. Like that. And he can tell exactly what will make you weak and what will make you break. That's what makes him so dangerous. Everyone thinks, if Rumple was supposed to be the most dangerous because he had all this magic and he was evil. No. It's one thing to use magic on a person, which is easy, and it's another to use physical force, which is also easy. But what Pan is doing that makes him infinitely more dangerous is he's using what's up here. Psychological torture. And the fact he manipulates that well to the point where he knows exactly what to use to make you break. I mean, he had the Dark One on his knees in tears within seconds. That should raise a red flag right there. That is why what Hook said about Pan being the most vicious and demonic entity he's ever faced, God's honest truth. This kid knows what he's doing. He knows how to break you. So he moved on from Rumple and he went to Emma. And with Emma, it was easy. Because honestly, with Emma, it was easy because Emma and Pan are actually not all that different. And I'm not talking like in a psychological way. I'm talking about in an emotional way. Everyone knows from the stories, there is that truth there. No matter how much they might have gotten wrong, there is that truth there that yes, Pan harbors a lot of resentment for being an abandoned child. He is a lost boy. He grew up without a family. He was alone. He harbors that anger and the resentment and the bitterness. And that's what he was trying to bring out in Emma. The only way that she was able to read the map was to accept who she was. And I know that everybody was like, she has to accept that she's the savior. Pan doesn't care about that. That's not Pan's game. That's not what he knows will make her break. Pan knows how to dig deeper. He wanted to put her in a place where she would be on the same level as him. And he did that very effectively by making her accept the fact that she was a lost girl, an orphan at her truest heart. She's never stopped seeing herself as an orphan, as that little girl who cried herself to sleep every night, wondering why her parents didn't love her and why they abandon her if they were ever going to come for her. The scene that Jen and Ginny had was just, I mean, I thought that her scene giving birth to Henry was enough to wrench your guts, but that scene was even more. Kudos to Jen's acting. I mean, absolutely. I'm not surprised that Ginny would say, you know, as she had said in her tweets, that they had to do multiple takes of that scene because she kept choking up and she kept getting emotionally invested in the scene so much, and she knew that she shouldn't have, because that was the way her character was feeling, not her as an actress. But it was hard to not cross that line and really feel the emotion of that scene. And I have to agree with what everyone else was saying. I mean, I love Snow to death, I really do, but sometimes I think she tries too hard. She's trying to be there for Emma as much as she can, but Emma's not the type of person that can deal with being smothered, especially by someone who she doesn't consider. Well, she considers Snow her mother, but she doesn't see her as that. So it's hard for her to take that advice and to hear those words from her, because, you know, emotionally she's not ready to go to that place. They're both trying as hard as they can, but Emma feels smothered. Snow is coming on a little too strong. Charming's on the other end of the spectrum, being, you know, hands off, trying to give her space. But the problem is, throughout this episode, that everyone had an idea of what they wanted her to be. Like in the scene where they were all standing around her, trying to give her the encouragement to read the map. Everyone in the group was like, "You could say it, Emma. You're the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming. You're a bail bondsman. You were born in the Enchanted Forest. And you were abandoned, you know, in a portal in a tree to break a curse. And you grew up in Boston, and you broke the curse, and you freed us all. And now you're here to save Henry because you're the S word, the S word, the S word." You know, they were all saying, "It's okay, don't be embarrassed." The only person that wasn't saying anything in that scene, that was just kind of standing back and listening to it all and observing, mostly Emma, was Hook. Why? Very obvious answer. Hook already knew exactly who Emma Swan was. He pointed that out within 5 minutes of meeting her in season 2, episode 6, Tallahassee, on the Beanstalk. Once an orphan, always an orphan. An orphan's an orphan. As a matter of fact, she reiterated his lines almost word for word. There we go. When Snow was asking her why she hesitated in taking out that lost boy, she said it was because of the look in his eyes mirrored her own. She saw herself in that boy. That boy was an orphan, a lost child, and she felt the same way. Hook said the very same words. So he already knew. He has always known. She is a lost girl, an orphan. He didn't need to hear them arguing over it or trying to get her to believe in something that wasn't necessary, that it wasn't necessary for her to believe in. He didn't force her to accept something that she didn't want to accept. He knew this was something she had to do on her own. And Hook, glory be to the angel that is Hook, for having the strength to not punch people in the face. That man has a monumental amount of patience. Holy shit. The moment they set foot on that island, they should have done exactly what he told them to do. Just because he hasn't been there in 30 years since the curse was cast, they can't discount the fact that he was there for 300 years. If anybody knows the lay of that land, next to Pan, it is Hook. They need to start listening to Hook. Compliments, kudos to Emma for actually stepping up and putting some trust into him. That was a big leap. She trusted what he was saying, and she was going along with what he was saying. And he also throughout the episode was giving her as much encouragement as possible, saying that we need to follow Pan's orders were. Listen to Emma. Don't use magic. Give her the chance to unlock that map, and we'll find him. Blah blah blah. Through the whole episode, he gave her nothing but encouragement. Trying to build her confidence, he wants to be on her side. I think no matter who else is in that group, his loyalties are to Emma and Emma alone. Well, he's not going to screw with anybody else, but he is loyal to Emma. The fact that he let her kind of co-lead in this is a big deal. What else? Regina. Sweetheart, I understand that you are desperate to find Henry, but shut the fuck up! Alright, you've never been to Neverland. You're a queen. Got it! You have magic. Whoop-de-doo. In Neverland, it doesn't fucking matter. Neverland, it might be the birthplace of magic, but that's not their stock and trade. Not at all. Their stock in trade is psychology, and they will easily break your ass. So if you have a brain cell in your body, listen to Hook. Shut your mouth. Listen to the pilot. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to steer you wrong, because he might not like you, but he doesn't want to die. Okay? So, I think he knows what he's doing to keep everyone alive. Same goes for Charming. I get that you're not used to working with somebody from the other side. But as Hook had said to Emma, he's not the bad guy. Okay? In Neverland, he's your best motherfucking friend. Best believe it. Although I could tell in this episode, after Hook saved Charming from those thorns laced with Dreamshade, that it seems like, and the fact that they kind of supported each other in different instances, I think that they're starting to come around to a bit of a bromance. Looks like they got some kind of charming going on, and Josh Dallas did say if as long as Hook manages to prove himself in Charming's eyes, it could be a very worthwhile bromance. Bro TP. Captain Charming forever. Flashbacks, snowing, Snow Charming and the Seven Dwarves, and Regina. That storyline, I kind of paid attention to it mostly for the parallels. I mean, it was a cute little story in that he had to help her find the courage to face Regina, because Regina had given her an offer to either she'd give up her throne and live in exile but still be alive, or Regina would start killing members of her kingdom. Now, she could have taken the easy way out and walked away from her people and lived in exile while the rest of her people suffered. And she was about to actually do that. And the dwarves were even in her corner, but Charming wasn't going to let her give up. So he concocted a fake-ass story about the Sword in the Stone. That's why you kind of need to know things about other realms, Snow. Yes, Everybody knows the Sword and the Stone, Excalibur, is in frickin' Camelot, owned by King Arthur. But whatever. He used it as an impetus to build her confidence and to make her believe that she could stand up to Regina on her own terms, which she did. And granted, there was a lot of fighting after that before they were able to fully take their kingdom back, but she proved that day that she was capable of it and that she wasn't going to back down. There are parallels to her Charming giving her the encouragement and showing her that she was capable and making her see who she was inside. Parallels a lot to Hook giving the same encouragement to Emma and making her see who she is too. That was absolutely deliberate. Point blank, in your face, deliberate. And blatant. They weren't even trying to gloss over or hide it. It was fairly obvious. Wasn't too much Henry in this episode. Actually, wasn't any Henry at all, or Neil and that crew. I know some of the S tiers like, oh, I want to see Neil. You can't have your cake and eat it too. We all know that he's in the Enchanted Forest trying to find his way to Emma and all that. So I know the good stuff. Captain Swan and Hook. Captain Swan and Hook and Emma. Hook and Emma and Captain Swan. Okay. First of all, the Disney dropping. Oh my god. That shit was funny. I expected her to go in a little more descriptive detail, but I get that, constraints of time and all. Still funny, though. You could tell by the look on his face when he was asking her. He was really, really interested in knowing what this alternate version of himself was like. He was coming off as some kind of love-struck teenager who was trying to, with a crush that was trying to prove himself to his girl. And the really awesome thing is that Emma Swan, who we all know, doesn't take that shit. We would have expected her to roll her eyes and go, oh, "Bitch, please," but she didn't. In actuality, he made her smile like 3 separate times in this episode. He made her smile. The things he did was actually, in her mind, kind of funny. Injected that dose of levity that I think they needed. And it obviously shows that she's warming up to him. She doesn't see the innuendos and the cheekiness and the flirting as a nuisance anymore. She actually is kind of liking it now. So, effectively, he is chipping away at those walls, which is really awesome. I'm sure that by the time we get to episode 11, when they're on their way out of Neverland, who knows how it's going to be then? The wall is going to be completely down. And we might, someone asked Jen via Twitter, what was your favorite Captain Swan moment? And she answered, I can't say. It's a secret, which means if it had to do something with episode 3-2 or before, she would have just said it because she knows that everyone's already seen it. So it wasn't like she'd be spoiling anything. But for her to say, can't say it's a secret, that means it has to do with an episode that we haven't seen yet. So it's up and coming, which means we could definitely be in store for a hell of a lot more affections, intimacies, kisses, who knows. But yeah, that scene was really cute. And like the whole episode was kind of Hook trying to prove himself, be it to Charming, to Snow, to her. When she finally manages to break the map and read it, she runs. She doesn't run to Charming or to Regina. She runs to Hook, and not just because she knows he can read a map because he's a pirate, but it's like a natural instinct because she knows that he's in charge and she's the co-captain, leader, however you want to put it. They have this kind of working as a team dynamic. Ironically enough, they work together as a better team, just the two of them, than all five of them combined. Because it's very apparent that Hook and Em are on the same wavelength. So, what it all boils down to is they get into a fight with Pan and his Lost Boys because Regina just cannot help herself. She wants an instant gratification of finding Henry as soon as possible, and apparently what Emma's trying to do is just too damn slow. When she finally breaks that map, and Hook says, well, we're on the southern tip of the island, and Pan's hideout is on the northern part, so we're going to have to cut across the dark forest, even though it's insanely dangerous. They want to prepare. Regina just wants to get there, period. And she decides to use magic, which is something that Pan explicitly told them that was not to be done. They thought that the map led them to Henry, but in reality it just led them to Pan and an ambush. And does not take kindly to cheaters or people that go against his rules. And here, during this particular battle, Hook and Felix are fighting, and Hook says, point blank, to Felix, to his face, don't forget, you didn't forget what I did to Rufio, did you? You're in store for a far worse fate. As soon as I heard the word Rufio come out of his mouth, I was like, bing, 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 bing. Bam! Because I remember before season 3 started, and when we knew that they were going to take the show to Neverland, everyone was asking if they were going to include Rufio in this. And Eddie and Adam kept saying that they couldn't actually do it because the rights to the movie, they didn't have the rights to those characters. But somehow they managed to get the rights to the name at the very least, so that they could name drop. I want to know what he did to Rufio. If it's the same thing from the movie Hook, or if it's something different. Hopefully he'll talk about it some more. I want to hear more about his adventures, his connection with Pan. Colin says that Hook has a specific connection with Pan, and that it goes beyond just the normal adversary villain thing, which kind of gives you like a little bit of support to the Killapan theory that possibly this Pan is actually the successor and Hook was the original. We're kind of still holding to that theory by the shred of our, by the skins of our teeth, because that's pretty much all that we have left. But during this fight, the unfortunate happens, and Charming does get hit by one of the arrows that's laced with Dream Shade. Hook had said that because this wasn't a concentrated dose, that death would be a lot more drawn out and infinitely more painful. So no one's going to know for a while that he's been hit. He tells Snow that it was only his jacket that got cut up, but that he was fine, but he wasn't. He was lying. Because he secretly goes and looks under his shirt, and you can see where his skin has been cut, and the veins are already starting to pop out as the infection is spreading. So we don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take before he starts showing, but we all saw what happened to Rumple as under the effects of this poison, and the only thing that was able to save his life was dark magic, trading someone else's life for his. So now I don't think that Snow's going to want to do that twice. Plus, they don't have one of the nifty, candles. And the only person right now amongst their group that could save him is the one person that he doesn't want to trust, Hook. If anybody knows where there is an antidote to that, it would be Hook. I can almost see it. Charming going down from this poison and Hook saving him, which would instantly endear him to Snow and probably to Emma too. After this fight is over, Hook and Emma have another little moment where he offers her his rum. Again, she doesn't wipe off the top of the flask, which is kind of like an indirect sort of kiss thing. And when he asks her who she is, because obviously she had to accept who she was to break the map, she gives him a little, "Would you like to know?" That's the first time I've ever seen her return flirt with Flirt. Coy, smiley, all batting of the eyelashes. But then when he leans in and says, "Perhaps I would," the tone of his voice, the way that he says, completely dropped dead serious. Emma went walls up in like 2.5 seconds because she was all, "Whoa, wait a second, what did I just do? What did he just do? What is going on? I'm not supposed to be flirting with Captain Hook. That's why she walks away. You can tell she looks from his lips to his eyes and back down, and she's like, "Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing?" Awesome scene. Colin, props. Major props. Kudos. All the fucking awards for that scene. The tone in which you delivered that line was perfection. Because he was completely serious in that whole exchange. There was not an innuendo in sight. He wasn't being cheeky, he wasn't being cocky, he was being truthful. He honestly wants to get to know who Emma Swan is as a person. Beyond the lost girl orphan stuff. He wants to really know her. And I think that in itself kind of scares her a bit. She's not used to someone being so concerned about her or so interested in her. And yes, all the media outlets are agreeing. They've been in agreement with this since before season 3 even started. How they've been in agreement with this since friggin' Tallahassee. Now, I'm not going to address the ship hate about the whole, what's the latest theory now? They're saying that Hook might be in a secret alliance with Pan, and they're going to work together to go against Emma, and the Charmings invade. Yeah, bullshit. It's really sad that people have to come up with excuse after excuse after excuse because they really have nothing left to support their theories anymore. I mean, nothing left. So they have to grab shit out of thin air and put it on Tumblr or Twitter, and it gets out to everybody, and then you got people getting nervous when they don't even need to be nervous. These guys need to step off. I mean, honestly, step off. It's happening. Whether you like it or freaking not, it's happening. Is it going to happen at the midpoint of the season? I don't know. Is it going to happen at the end of season 3? I don't know. But right now, all we can do is just wait and watch and fangirl, I guess. All the little scenes and analyze everything. But yeah, that is pretty much the entirety of Lost Girl. Great episode. JMO, Colin, Ginny, kudos to all the acting. Lord, you guys are amazing. I do hope that they will find a cure for Charming because I don't want him to die. But I do feel like it would be Hooked that will do it because he's the most familiar with the island and therefore would know where to get it or how to make it. Episode 3 is called Quite a Common Fairy. It has to do with Tinkerbell. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's a distinct difference between the way Tinkerbell looked when she was with Regina, who was young, and the way that Tinkerbell looks now that she's in Neverland. Her skin is chubbier, more, drawn and gaunt. She's dirty. She looks like she has aged literally 10 to 15 years. But it's more of an emotional, psychological thing than it is a physical thing, because fairies can't really age. But you could tell in the beginning, when she was with Regina, when Regina was young, she was happy, she was flighty, she liked to party and have fun. She didn't hurt anybody, she just liked to have fun. And then from these previews, when she meets up with Hook and his group, she's not the same person that she once was. That's more than obvious. I don't know how long she's been on the island or what happened to her since she's been there, but obviously whatever happened to her has been bad, because it seemed like her whole demeanor was different. I don't know how heavy it's going to be. Captain Swan, Thing. I think Neil's going to be in this episode. I think, unless it's Regina centric stuff. He may not. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is going to go into the background of how Regina met Tinkerbell and why they don't quite get along, and I'm sure there will be some stuff in there about deals to be made between Tinkerbell and Hook, how to get back to the ship or to fix the ship so they can get out of there when the time comes. Information on the location of Henry and how many soldiers Pan actually has, stuff like that. Looking forward to episode 3, because of all the characters in the Neverland story, I was really looking forward to see how Tinkerbell is going to be portrayed. I have a feeling it's going to be good. I truly do have a feeling it's going to be good. I don't know how much Captain Swan or Hook or whatever is going to be in this episode. There hasn't, I don't know if y'all noticed, but last week the only sneak peek we got was what we got right after the pilot episode, a little 1 minute and 38 second whatever sneak peek. We didn't get anything else. Normally we get at least 4 or 5, but we got zip, and we still haven't gotten any yet so far. Still waiting for episode 3. I don't know if ABC has changed their dynamic or what, but I mean, I'm not surprised considering everything that's gone on. Everything that's gone on in the fandom. It really doesn't shock me at all. I guess it's something that we just have to live with. And to be honest with you, I don't so much mind not having spoilers, because then you see everything for the first time. You don't have any inside track, and it's new and fresh, and you want to be surprised, you want to be awed and shocked and all that stuff. It's hard to do that when you've already seen so many sneak peeks that you've practically seen the whole episode without actually seeing it. Well, that is the end of my analysis for Season 3, Episode 2, The Lost Girl. Great episode all around. Everyone did an amazing job, as always. Especially Jennifer, Ginny, Colin, and even a little Rumple in there somewhere. He also did really well, mostly with the Belle scenes. I don't know how much more there is for me to really go into. I'm trying to keep this video short. I'm tired. It's late. So that's it from me, guys. ASLP, peace out. And I will see you guys for the next reaction vlog. Once Upon a Time, Season 3, Episode 3, Quite a Common Fairy.